Okay. Okay, here we go. All right. So, let's see here. La 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 la. Yeah, I just wanted the announcement to stand alone. Yeah, I guess it's a good morning. How are you guys doing? So, other than that announcement, I didn't really have much to say. Oh, but so let's see. There's been a ton of crap happening, but my brain is fried. So I can't even think right now. Um, oh, hello. Let's see here. Anybody wants to jump on? That's fine. I don't really, I'll do it, but I don't really like talking to myself. I do it enough. Let's see here. Let's take a look at Stable Genius Progressive's channel. Okay. I'm doing good, actually. Um, it's a good thing that St. Patrick's Day only happens once a year. 'Cause, um, I have some people in mind. I have some people in mind. I have to revamp my channel, um, but um, I am going to try. I'm going to try to uh, speak with Gail McLaughlin, and I know Joe. I'm sure you know Gail. Uh, that's another person I'm trying to get on. There are a few other people, but she's one. I'm looking to get some other people on. She is. She is, and I think that she is an example, obviously, of someone who is has pure intentions, and it can actually happen in politics. So, and we have to give people a shot. We have to give people a chance. I think part of the problem is that people are so afraid. I am going to try to, yep, exactly. Well, I need to do some, revamping and make my channel look a little more professional. The rambling videos of me walking around in my kitchen, I've been told it's not the best look in the world. So I need to look through some of my content. But I know, and especially now that she's running. Oh, and I'll probably make this a private one. Within the next few months, I'm going to try to do kind of a, I don't know how packed the schedule would be, but I'm going to try to interview Lisa Lucas. I've been dying to interview her. I had a chance to do it last year, but I just ran out of time. But we'll see. What I would like to do is get more activists on the channel. So I think that my my subscriber count kind of scares some people away, because I'm only, what am I, at like 175, something like that. So it's pretty small. Oh, yeah, I went on one or two channels tonight, and I got a very large contingency of 420 subscribers. Let's just put it that way. So let's see here. Yeah, we're trying. So, Stevie, are you on? Are you still here? ASMR? What the? I have never heard of ASMR. I just... Oh, that! Okay. Okay. It's like I'm rubbing my so I've seen those. Hold on. Here. Ah. Like 3 hours of that, yeah. So, Stable Genius Progressive, congratulations on your acquiring of a wrench. Everyone gets a wrench basically here, unless you're silly, and then you stomp off because I took your wrench away. Um, Stable, genius, progressive. Stable, genius, humble, progressive. Where are you from? In the meantime. This here. Well, Stevie, if you're still awake, Oh, okay, cool. I checked out Ojeda. I'm not sure about him. There's this guy running in West Virginia. Last name of Ojeda. Oh, okay. Are you running for office? So, where in Chicago are you from? I lived in Rogers Park from 92 to 98. I lived right off the Jorvis L, which is a pain in the ass, but lived off of Greenview. So, I haven't been back to Chicago since 20 years ago when Lynn and I moved. So I don't know what it's like now. I liked Chicago a great deal, but I heard that especially around where I used to live is nasty. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Wicker Park was all right. I liked, oh, what the hell was that town? Where all the John Hughes movies were filmed. I can't remember the name of the stupid town. Now, is Hollywood kind of a separate state all into its own? California seems that I've never been to California, but it seems really weird because it just seems like there's just so many different cultures everywhere. I mean, yeah. Okay. So, what do you guys think about how California is run right now? It just seems like I just hear so much about how California's overregulated. Well, that's like Chicago, too. I mean, Rogers Park was I believe it was considered, at least when I was there, the most culturally diverse um, area in the country at the time. Now, is that, oh, well, I don't have I have the documentation on it. Well, did it go up 35% because of tax or because of non-competition? Because there aren't that many places that are allowed to sell it yet. Now, when was it? I would say it was... Hello. How are you? Visit where and join where? Okay. So, interesting. So YouTube dossed Pravin Puranik, I believe that's his real name, as a... Hey, Kathy. I'm starting to waver on Medicare for all for one reason. If you don't trust the state government, why would you trust them with your health care? So SGP, that's what I'm going to call you. SGP. When did you live in Chicago? The 90s? The 80s? Oh, okay. Yes. I forgot his name already. James had a pretty cool interview. And let's see her. I feel awful because I forgot the Miguel Zuniga. Apologies, Miguel Zuniga. Yep, he's running for a house in California. Yep, that was him. I didn't catch his activism work, what he did. But he sounds like a regular, normal guy. So and I don't either. That's the thing. I don't trust the insurance company. I don't know who to trust. I don't trust individual companies, and I don't know if I could completely trust the government. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is yet. I really, honest to God, I don't know what the solution for healthcare is. I sure as hell know that it isn't Obamacare. I reached out to Miguel myself, but I would love to see more Californians interview Californian candidates. Joe, did you reach out? And I don't need to interview him, but have you reached out to Hillebrand yet? He's another one that you really should reach out to. Well, that's the thing. Right now, Medicare covers older people. Medicaid covers the poor. Oh, cool. I have to check that out. Hildebrand just went to Mexico and visited some veterans who were booted out of the country. Here's my question with any healthcare plan. If the government is regulating healthcare, how is that gonna work? Are they going to actually have medical professionals saying, yes, this person needs this, or yes, this person needs that? I agree with you. My wife needs what's called I can't even think. What is it? It's basically she needs her heart medication, so she needs it every month. I need monthly medication. Maintenance drugs. Good Lord. I'd actually, when is Hildebrand's when is his primary? I'd actually like to get him on after the election. But here's the June 5th. Okay. So I got a little bit of time. But SGP, here's the rub. You're absolutely right. Insurance companies have a reason not to pay because of the profit motive. Why on earth? I live in West Virginia. Joe Manchin's daughter is the chairman of Mylan, or basically, I don't know if she owns Mylan, but she runs Mylan Corporation, which is a huge pharmaceutical company. It may not be a direct thing, but the politicians right now are owned by the healthcare industry. We have to release the stranglehold. I agree with you, and Stevie must be sleeping. I want to know what's going to get covered and what's not going to be considered. And I agree, we need more doctors, and we also need more pharmacists. Is mental health? What in mental health is going to be covered? If you have a slight anxiety disorder, or you're going to be hassled. No. Well, the difference between medical insurance and car insurance is you can do without a car. You need your health. I mean, it's difficult, especially in some areas, not to have a car, but you can do it. But without your health, you're not going to be able to work. You're not going to be able to take care of your kids. You're not going to be able to take care of yourself or your family, or your wife, your husband, and you're not going to be able to have a quality of life. Joe, I agree. I want to know how mental health is going to be covered as well. The only time that mental health is really discussed in this country is when there is a shooting. And then we talk about it then. Yep. And I think I've brought up the fact that I am bipolar 2, so bipolar number 2, which is basically, they call it bipolar light. What'd you say, Kathy? Millionaires and billionaires can collect Social Security? I believe so. And that's the thing, too. The military budget is insane. And a lot of... how much was the military budget? Like $800 million? And it's the National Defense Authorization Act. $42 million was slated for cleanup on Long Island. And I'm curious, well, of course, which is the Democrats and the GOP will throw money at the military whenever they get a chance to, because that's the game. That creates, you create a problem, which creates a need for leaders to control the situation, which will never be completely solved, because they need you to need them to control the situation, which is the whole reason. If you didn't get a chance, please check out the video with Susie Dawson, Kim.com, and Elizabeth Leah Voss. They talk about it. The need for the Russia versus the United States dynamic, which is why the Russia thing has been spun to death. Dental should be covered. And dental should actually be wrapped up into your health care. You shouldn't have to have a separate dental plan or a separate vision plan. Joe, the being Julian Assange video, it's awesome for a couple things. I never listened to Kim.com prior to him speaking on there, and he is kind of an alpha, to say the least. But before listening to him, I didn't really know what the deal was. Hey, Gordon. Been talking to myself for a half hour. So, yeah, and the whole him changing his name to Kim.com, which was weird. The whole Seth Rich thing, where he kind of did a LeBron James, all right. But yeah, he impressed me a little bit, and it doesn't really speak to specific situations. It didn't speak to the guy who just got killed, whatever his name is. It's too early in the morning now. Yeah. Yeah, me too. I need some coffee too. What's the name of the guy that... Thank you. Oops. Adrian Lamo. They didn't really talk about situations like that, like Adrian Lamo. They didn't talk about Seth Rich. They didn't talk about any of that. They just basically talked about the situation with Assange was the main focus of the whole thing, but the general situation and how to fight the propaganda machine and to protect whistleblowers. To be honest. All right. Here. Kim.com said that he supported Trump over Clinton because Clinton was the person that the deep state wanted. And even though Trump sucks, he was not controlled by the deep state. That's why he wanted Trump over Hillary. Who could that possibly be? Oh crap! Oh, hold on, Garden. I heard you.
Check.
What the fuck is this red shit on my screen?
What the fuck is this?
You Russian bot.
What the fuck is this? God damn, you're going postal again, Dave. You gotta get out of that damn place. It's having a negative effect on you. So what's up with Kim.com? Like I read a couple of days ago or something that, man, that you said your opinion has changed on him. So how has it changed?
Just listening to him, I thought that he wasn't a serious character. I just thought he was kind of clowning, and I didn't understand what the hell he was doing with the whole Seth Rich thing. And he pulled a LeBron to me. He was like, I have all this evidence. I have all this evidence. I have all this evidence. Here's my CD. And I'm like, what the hell?
That's the impression I got, I got the impression that he was trying to angle his way back into the U.S. and reclaim his assets that were unjustly taken from him, might I add. But I thought that he was kind of bullshitting about Seth Rich and all that. Have you changed your opinion on that?
I don't have any. I can't, because they weren't speaking to that. The whole explanation was a little convoluted, because it was like, okay, I can't really release the information. Then why make that big ass announcement? I didn't really understand that. Maybe he made the big announcement and he was planning on doing it and something happened. That's what I figure.
Well, again, dude, if he really wants to get this information out there, if he sees that is his priority, all he has to do is get a deposition.
Right.
Get a deposition in his country of origin. He can get a deposition in Switzerland. It's not like he doesn't have the cash to fly to Switzerland like every day 3 times.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you saw the video after the fact. Someone contacted me in regards to comments made about Michael Hastings and his mysterious death, and the comment about the Mercedes he was driving had a history of exploding.
Yeah.
No.
That's not true?
No, it's not true. As a matter of fact, someone came on after the fact and stated that this was consistent with a cyber car attack. It was like a bigwig guy, the former director of counterterrorism. So, and on top of that, prior to him driving the car, the day before, Hastings went to a couple of neighbors, asked to borrow their car. Now, people discount him. They said that, he was bipolar, which, I love that explanation. It's like, just because you're bipolar doesn't mean that you're not telling the truth. It may mean you're agitated or pissed off. You may be not, understanding things. I also don't understand. I don't know the degree. There are different degrees of bipolar. Watching him on videos and watching him in interviews makes me think that he was an extremely high-functioning bipolar.
What were some of the signs that you noticed?
He was very lucid and very intelligent, but very nervous. Seemed very nervous, which is kind of consistent with bipolar 2, which is what I have.
Well, it's also consistent with someone doing interviews on, large media platforms.
Right. And if you go... I know how you love Cenk Uygur and how you love the Young Turks.
He's my hero, dude. If you say one fucking word. One fucking word, Dave. What about him, man?
In 2013, Cenk Uygur actually did decent coverage of the Michael Hastings thing. Because, Michael Hastings was actually on the Young Turks and did work for them. But it seemed like Cenk was incredibly restrained. And, he wanted to say something, but he couldn't.
Cenk's always hesitant to, quote, buy into conspiracy theories. I saw his coverage of Michael Hastings, and they were kind of on the side of, hey, man, there's something fucked up here.
Yeah. And if Cenk Uygur is kind of leaning a little bit towards the conspiracy, I gotta think there's something there.
Nah, I don't base my opinions on Cenk, but the fact that you said that, because I thought that there was a history. I had read, in some paper of record, and I can't remember which one it was, but it was the Washington Post or the New York Times or some shit, that there was a history of those Mercedes going up like that.
If you find it, let me know.
Because, I'll look for it, but it could have been bullshit too. So
that's what I'm saying. If it's
I'm gonna have to look into it again.
If it's the Washington Post or the New York Times, come on.
Yeah, so I'll look into it again.
I'd appreciate the source because I want to know where it's coming from. And
I'm not on Twitter anymore, but I'll post it to this video or something.
Man.
What the fuck, man?
I just liked you and tweeted you and everything.
God damn it!
I loved you or whatever the shit.
You got to get off of this social media shit once in a while, man. It's nice out. I'm done fucking around on it. In a few months, I'll create another Twitter account. That's what I usually do.
What is this sunlight?
I know. Sorry to say.
Wait, that's not a lamp. There's this giant yellow ball in the sky.
I get out once in a while, but it's starting to get nice out, man. I want to start making some more nature videos and stuff too. Where is Eben right now? Because he did some damn fishing video. He was ice fishing. I'm I thought you were in Iowa, dude. Where the fuck are you? He's been making these videos the past couple of days. One day he rents cars or something to go fishing, and he's rented them often enough so that the dudes at the dealership gave him a Mercedes. Speaking of Mercedes. And I was like, you're going to go fishing in a Mercedes, dude? Notice all you use the dash as the cleaning board, throw the fish in the back.
And him in that damn Russian babushka hat.
Yeah, that's
Like, dude.
like wear that to that protest you plan on going to. He was talking about going to some kind of anti-gun protest and yelling at them, and it's like, wear the Russian hat.
Or have you seen Deb Della Piana?
I haven't.
She has an authentic Russian fur hat. It's fucking awesome. It has like the little emblem on it and everything. She's like, I'm wearing this fucking thing. I'm like, okay,
do it, do it. Yeah, it's curious, man. Like, you never know. Like, Kelly was telling me about her her accident the other night, right? Just telling a group of us, and she mentioned that she was in a Mercedes.
okay.
And it's kind of coincidental that you brought that up, because I brought that fact up. I was like, if you were in one of these modern Mercedes, you wouldn't have survived. Remember Michael Hastings?
Yeah, someone was like, that particular model was one of the safest models, and I went on and I searched everywhere for safety records of that particular model. But I didn't know the year. But nothing. I found nothing. So
well, let's see.
But if you find it, just post it. I don't know. Post it somewhere.
I'll post it on this video.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking it up right now. Let's see. We've got an InfoWars article.
You do your research.
Hollywood Reporter.
They're throwing gay frogs in Mercedes, setting them on fire.
All right, here we go. Well, I'm going with the RT link, Dave.
Okay.
What does that tell you about my link? About who I am? Fucking dupe.
Russian tonight, dupe. Fucker.
All right, let's see. Mercedes coupe crash. Okay, so it was a Mercedes coupe.
What was it? 320? I'd have to look again.
This is not telling us the model. Let's see if we can find it. Sent chilling email. Who was Michael Hastings and why is his death being talked about? Here's the Sun. Let's see what the Sun in the UK has to say.
They were all basically saying that he was nervous and they thought that he was having a breakdown because he was bipolar, and that's a general idea I was getting.
Well, again, I mean, even if whether this has a history of crashing or not, or blowing the engine, blowing up, whatever the hell it did, catching fire, I think was the problem. The stated issue that model had a problem with the engine bursting into flames. But even if that was the case, or if it's not the case, I mean, the mystery's gonna remain unsolved.
Oh, of course. And I'll get you what I found. I'll post it on this video or the video or the original one. I just did a little bit of research, and it did state, I can't remember the name of the actual person, but he was, as I said, an anti-terrorism expert, and stated that you could easily basically hack into a car and remotely control the thing. And control the acceleration, and they saw that he was speeding and he couldn't, apparently he couldn't stop, and I don't know how they would make the car explode. The other thing that I noticed in the TYT video was that it looked like the car had caught on fire from the inside, and there was nothing coming from the engine. I was like, that's weird. And
okay.
And there were reports. There were toxicology reports supposedly stating that there was cannabis in his system and meth. Maybe it was Adderall, maybe not. I don't know. But the body was burned beyond recognition. So how the fuck would they know that?
Yeah, I'm not familiar enough with toxicology to tell you, but as I mean, meth. I don't. Who knows about that? I mean, he could have smoked marijuana any time within the past 30 days or so, and it would have shown up in his
But
system.
yeah, what are you gonna? You can't. There's nothing there. They had to. They had to basically identify him by dental records. There's no way. I
All
can.
right, I'm looking at it. It's a 250C coup,
Okay.
and it did have Mercedes Benz recalled 250,000 Class C coups from 2008 to 2011 model years for this problem,
Okay.
for it catching on fire like this. The link is the New York Times. I mean, I can trust them enough to say that they wouldn't misreport a recall. I'm sure this recall probably did occur. They wouldn't just make it up. Let's see.
This happened in 2013, correct?
Yeah, I'm looking for the model year of his
Yeah.
Mercedes, but it was a Model C. It was a 250C. So Mercedes 250 Coupe Hastings. Car experts on Michael Hastings crash. This is from the Hollywood Reporter.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Come on. Okay.
I'm just looking for the year of his car. Let's see. The car's filled.
It's got to be true. It's from BuzzFeed.
TYT's think tank reported on it.
Jordan Sheridan reporting from my crack house.
All right,
that was a joke, Jordan. Don't fucking come after me.
So have you been watching Jordan's work, dude?
Not yet.
I've watched some of it. Like,
how's he doing? Is he better?
Yeah, he's
he like had surgery or some shit.
Yeah, he had some back surgery. Yeah, he's like when he's reporting on things, like, again, I think Jordan did award-winning work in 2015 and 2016. Maybe some of the most valuable journalism work in the U.S. during those years. Okay, now he's got these other issues. I don't think he raped anybody. So as far as these other issues go, they're kind of scumbaggy, but it's not like I'm just going to dismiss his reporting because of them. Right. So anyways, like, he's really trying to get some kind of crowdfunding thing going, and he's always pleading poverty, right? He's like, I'm broke. I don't have a job. Like, really pleading poverty a lot. But then he was living at his parents' house, and then he starts filming from this apartment. He's like, yeah, man, I got my own apartment, blah, 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 blah. Come to find out, it's on the Lower East Side. So being from around that general area, Dave, how much would you say a one-bedroom apartment on the Lower East Side costs? Any ideas?
Probably more than my house payment a month, I would imagine. My house
probably
payment is like $1,700, $1,800. It's got to be. It's got to be more than that.
I couldn't find I looked at a couple of apartment rental sites online just out of curiosity. I couldn't find one for a one-bedroom for under $2,400.
Right. I was gonna say, around 22, 24.
That was the cheap end.
Yeah.
That was the low end. He had some room in that place, like more room than you usually get when you're living in fucking city like that. So I don't know, man.
Monsanto shill.
Well, what happened was he settled with both TYT and Huffington Post.
Okay.
So settling, I can see maybe like him not getting much out of TYT, given the circumstances and whatever. and the fact that they would fight for it. But Huffington Post, that was resolved really quickly. Like, he sued them, and within like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, he had a settlement. So my guess is they just cut him a check and told him to go away. So I got in a discussion with Jen, his business partner.
Okay.
And I was going back and forth with her, and on one of Jamarl's videos, it's probably still there, you can see it. And I asked her, I'm like, look, I know that you can't disclose the amount of the settlements. There's any amount. But you can disclose how much you have in your war chest for this media project that you guys are trying to start up. Like, you know, and she kind of evaded that, and she was a bit evasive about how much money he had. So,
well, of course.
You know, and it's really, you know, if he wanted to make, you know, if he has a settlement, whatever, that's great. But if he's pleading poverty and he's not broke.
Right. You know, if you pull that shit on me, I'll be like, okay, I'll tell you how much I have if you tell me your real name. Garden Gnome!
You know my name, don't you, Dave?
Actually, I don't. I don't need to know it. I mean, don't tell it. You know,
I just don't announce it in public, but I thought, like, pretty much everyone else in our little group knows my name.
I'm saying,
except
like,
for you.
Jamarl or freaking Kim or whatever. If you were asking me shit like that, you know, and I'm some public figure, I'm like, who the hell are you?
Yeah, well, she doesn't dare do that because she doesn't want to alienate the potential base.
Right.
You know, not knowing that I'm a complete prick and I would never donate a dime to anybody under any
now she does.
I thought you knew my name, dude. I thought I fucking told you one time or some shit. Everyone, I thought
asshole
I'll tell you some at some point. Asswipe, that's my name.
Fuck it's Assweepy.
Assweepy.
There was a Saturday Night Live sketch with Nicolas Cage. It's like they're talking about baby names. He's like, no, I can't name the kid Richard because they'll call him Dick. I can't do this, you know. And it got more and more ridiculous. Yeah, and then finally it's like, okay, we'll name him this. And then there's a knock at the door. You know, package for Mr. Asswipe? It's Assweepy!
I don't know what some parents are thinking, man. I had a friend whose name was Blue. His parents named him Blue.
I had a classmate. Her name was Sandra Bat. I was like, okay, well, what you're gonna name your kid? Rabbit. It's like, you know, you're just setting the fucking kid up for a mass murder. I mean, you know, come on. So what's the link of that information? It's the New York Times.
For the New York Times, let me go back. I was looking at the Hollywood Reporter.
God's sake.
Can you? Am I wrenched in this thing?
Yeah, I think so. Hold on.
All right. Yeah, I am.
Everybody has a fucking wrench, unless they like just came on, or there was some guy who came on. His name was Cocksuck Fuck You or something. And I was like, I don't know who the hell you are. It's like I'm going to give you a say. Well, fuck you, man. And he left. I'm like, all right. So, Cocksuck Fuckface never got a
goddamn wrench. You never got a goddamn wrench, boy. All right, here. Let me copy and paste it. This thing's being difficult.
Me and you and a dog named Sue.
Talk about unfortunate names for things. That's an unfortunate name for a song. Me and you and the dog named Blue.
Oh, that's weird. Let's see here.
You see it?
Page not found.
I'm giving you bullshit links. What the fuck? I'm looking at the page. see, maybe I misposted it or something.
Oh, you have to put it in quotation marks.
All right.
I don't know why. Fly catches me on that all the time.
Is it working now? I put it in quotes. God damn it.
Yes, it does. All right.
Yeah, I haven't seen what year it was, but I'd imagine his Mercedes was probably, you know, did he have a brand new one? A 2000?
It's possible.
What year did he die?
Two,
2013.
2013, yeah.
So in July of 2013, the agency began investigating after receiving complaints from 21 owners, some of whom reported scorch marks or small fires inside the trunk. One of the owners said he stopped driving when the warning lights indicated his taillights were not functioning. Pulled over and opened the trunk. Trunk was filled with smoke and a burning plastic smell. Visual flame, small on ground wire. So again, I mean, there wasn't a proper investigation. And I mean, people bitch about conspiracy theories or whatever. You know, you want to cut the conspiracies off at the pass. Do a proper fucking investigation.
Well, I gotta see again. I gotta see what year it is because that might be part of it, and it might. You know where I'm going with this. If there was a massive recall, it may not have been the exact model. Blah blah blah. So
you're right. It wasn't the exact model. The models affected by the recall are the C300, C300 4MATIC, and C350 and C63 AMG. So he owned a 250. So his car was not recalled. His model.
Okay.
So here we go. A little bit of sleight of hand from the New York Times and their fucking friends.
That's what I'm saying. You know, and that's where that's where things get dismissed. And it's not like this is ever going to get solved. Just like with Paul Wellstone, that was dismissed pretty goddamn quickly too. Oh, icing.
Yep, he was an inexperienced pilot, or the pilot was inexperienced. I can't remember whether he was flying or whether he was being flown. But that was one of the things that they said. They were like, "Oh, the guy didn't really know how to fly that well."
Paul.
Yeah, and then they just Seth Rich, like an inadequate investigation. This one inadequate investigation. He was in the ground immediately.
Well, and you know what's bizarre? That people fucking rooted for Kevin Spacey in House of Cards. He killed people.
Yeah.
It's like
everyone wants to be a badass nowadays, dude. Yeah, I'm a badass. I'm just like Kevin Spacey in House of Cards. I'm just like fucking whoever, some anti-hero. People just they like anti-heroes now.
I'm a badass. I kill a dude while he's unconscious in a car. I'm a badass. Fucking pussy.
I cheat kids. I cheat kids out of money.
I push a woman.
I do what it takes.
I push a woman in front of a moving train. Sorry, spoilers.
Everyone wants to be a badass. Too bad they aren't.
I don't want to be a badass. I'm fucking tired. I don't need that.
That's why people like these evil characters. That's so badass, man. He just shot her right in the face. fucking psychos. I'm looking at the 2012 250 coupe, $38,095. Zero information here. Looking at Auto Week. So do you remember the name of the... You said you didn't remember the name of the guy who...
I could find it out real quick because it was pretty...
the expert?
The expert guy, yeah. I actually think it was on Wikipedia. So you know it must be true.
Wikipedia. Everyone rags on Wikipedia, and you shouldn't use it for like hardcore research.
Oh, no.
But it's still pretty good, man. Like, I think people rag on it too much. I think it's a good resource for, a lot of
stuff like this. It's like,
I always get it because of my job. People are like, don't let make sure that you're not using Wikipedia when you're sourcing information. To get it, you got it. You know it's good.
Let's see. Here we go. Richard A. Clark.
Richard Clark.
Yep. Former U.S. National Coordinator for Security Infrastructure Protection and Counterterrorism, Richard Clark, said that what is known about the crash is consistent with a cyber car attack. And he was quoted as saying, "There's reason to believe that intelligent agencies for major powers, including the United States, know how to remotely seize control of a car. So if there were a cyber attack on Michael Hastings' car, and I'm not saying there was, of course he has to qualify it, I think whoever did it would probably get away with it because it'd be done remotely."
Yeah, I mean, Richard Clark is a scumbag, but, his evidence should not be discounted here.
Right.
Like, as far as I know, I mean, does he really have a horse in this race? I mean, why would he make this shit up unless he just wanted to get in front of a camera, which I can't see that happening, really.
No. I mean... Oh. We are off the air, I think.
What happened? What happened?
The video output is low. They're on to us, man!
Fucking turn it off now, Dave! Move!
Shit! The
Move! Start packing! Grab your wife!
Shit, she's not here.
Grab the cat! Grab that three-legged cat!
I'll grab something. Fuck. It's probably I got too many links going on. Let me close all these links. Fuck. Na 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 na.
Do 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 do. Do 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 do. That song always reminds me of Pee-wee's Playhouse, or like the Pee-wee movie, I should say.
All right. What the hell is going on?
Paul Rubin, the degenerate. Goddamn. What is it with all these kids show hosts and degeneracy? Like the dude from Blue's Clues, he ended up being a hardcore junkie. Just called that Blue's Clues money and shot it into his fucking arm.
The guy who played Joel.
The Blue's Clues was after my time as a kid, but I remember hearing about junkie Blue's Clues dude. Is it working again? Have you got it up?
Working. And Ryan's competing with me. That's why I only
what the fuck?
Oh, it's back on now. Now that I start talking about being angry against one of my fellow coworkers, now they went, "Fuck you, live stream."
Let's go kick his ass, dude. We don't fucking tolerate competition here, especially from foreigners.
Like I give a crap.
I'm just kidding. I go on Ryan's show. Of course, I wish his show all the best of luck. I'm just
Not
fucking
on my
around.
time.
People have a hard time knowing when I'm fucking around, apparently. I try to make my jokes like stupid and absurd enough so people could tell on their face that I'm just joking, but some people just don't get it. They're like, what? Like, who was it the other night? The other night I was like, I don't know, there was some Fly and I were joking around, and I was like, yeah, I've got a restraining order against me from TYT. And they started talking about it in the damn live stream. They're like, you got a restraining order against you? I was like, no.
There were years ago, my work, there were a bunch of fishwives in there. You know, I got a transfer from my old post office, and I got the phone call. They're like, Dave, you got a phone call. Hey, Dave, congratulations on your transfer. They didn't even fucking tell me yet. You know, it's one of those. But it's like, I was doing my student teaching in the mail plant that I was in at the time, and somebody was like, "Well, Dave, I heard you got a transfer." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to Montana." Just fucking off the top of my head. Everybody's like, Dave, oh, you're going to Montana? And I got cookies and candy and shit. I was like, you know, and then I went to do my student teaching. I came back during the week of break, and they're like, "Oh, you came back from Montana?" I'm like, "Yeah." You know, I'm going back in a week. Really? You could do that?
Jesus.
And then like a month or so later, I came back. They were like, "What the fuck?"
So did you ever tell them? You must have.
Well, they figured it out eventually when I came back like one or two times. It was like, "You fucking morons." I'm like,
that's got to be in violation of some code.
Yeah, why not? Violation of the code. Mind your own goddamn business.
Yeah, so like Ryan has his own show, and he's broadcasting it. Like I said, I don't really tolerate this shit.
I thought he was on. I don't think he is. He was on before, and then he went off, and I thought I saw it was probably from like the stream for like an hour ago.
Yeah, it does that.
Yeah.
I'll click on it; it'll still be up. I'll be like, "Oh, there's a stream going."
Right, and I was like, "What the fuck?" It's
So what? I haven't watched that Kim.com that live stream that they did.
A lot of it is just general discussion. It's actually it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good because they answered like 6 of my questions.
Nice.
But yeah, the very last question that was asked was the very first question that was asked, which I put it up on the pad, which is, other than revealing sources, which obviously you don't want to do, is there any information that should not be available to the public? And they basically, KimJongUn.com, yeah, that shouldn't be available to the public. Somebody just posted that.
North Korea's got their own internet. It's all Kim Jong.
No,
Kim Jong.
Ryan is not on, okay? Pay no attention to the man behind the camera. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. But
yeah, I was hoping to catch that, though, because I wanted to ask him about, like, look, man, I know that you're trying to leverage this in order to get back into the U.S. I mean, and I don't blame you for leveraging, because you were fucking ripped off.
They weren't answering any specific questions in regards to Seth Rich, in regards to Kim.com's situation, in regards to Susie's situation, in regards to I asked Elizabeth a question about how her opinions have changed over her time investigating with Susie and Kim, but there weren't really specific questions. No questions about Adrian Lamo. No questions about Seth Rich. Yeah, nothing specific about specific people.
Yeah,
Jesus, shit was going on at the time. They had just heard about Adrian Lamo. And there were rumors that shit may have still been going down. So you don't want to say anything too much.
The only reason to hold on to that information that I can discern at this point is for personal advantage of one sort or another. Why else would you hold on to that information unless you were seeking some sort of advantage by holding on to it? Because again, you could just walk into a New Zealand court, and if New Zealand doesn't allow it, you can fly to Switzerland.
Which information are we talking about?
About the information that he claims he has about Seth Rich being linked to WikiLeaks.
And again, I do not know the specifics. Is that Intel knocking on your door? I do not know.
No.
I do not know intentions. I will not speak to intentions. I can't. I don't know. I can tell you what I thought at the time. I thought it was hanky at the time. I have to admit that. But I don't know why. And until they say something, I'm not gonna speculate. I can't, because I don't have any evidence one way or the other. And it's not fair to Seth Rich's memory either. I don't know what is actually in the works, or if there is any information, or what's going on, or why. I don't know. So
yeah, none of us do, man. And it's all like, as far, I can't speak to specific intent, but I think I'm fairly confident in saying that the only reason to hold on to that information at this point would be for some sort of personal advantage. You're holding your cards close for some reason, and I can't believe it's because of safety purposes that you're terrified or something like that. I mean,
I do not know. Could be legal, could be, I don't know. So
there's ways to disseminate the information that he hasn't taken advantage of. I know that. As far as Seth Rich is concerned, I fall. Although again, I can't say for sure, of course, because they didn't do a proper investigation. We don't know enough about the case. I fall on the side that there was probably something fucked up going on there. Like, if it was related to WikiLeaks or not, who knows? Like, it looks like it might have been. But there was definitely something fucked up. You don't put bullets in someone's back to rob them and then don't take anything.
The thing is, who the fuck knows? It may be a bizarre situation in one case, but how many people, directly involved with Clinton, and he was an aide, correct? I can't remember.
Yeah, he was some kind of staffer.
So he was a staffer. So what is it? 45. If one person was killed, that's one too many. And it's just way too damn many people dying. It's kind of like fucking, Hillary Clinton is Angela Lansbury from fucking Murder, She Wrote, and everybody is like, that knows her. It's like,
yeah, I mean, and I understand that the Clintons have a wide sphere of influence. There's a wide orbit around the Clintons, right? They know a lot of people. Like, I understand that. Nonetheless, the nature of a lot of these deaths is fucked up. And it makes you wonder, like, is there something there?
The ones that get me,
it's not unreasonable to question that, in my opinion.
Gordon, I have groundbreaking news that I am going to report in an hour. Yeah, I mean, come on. Fucking Dorothy Kilgallen, I always bring her up. I have groundbreaking news that I'm going to report on the next day. 2 hours later, she's fucking found dead of a drug overdose.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
well,
mean,
the information probably overwhelmed her. Well, where is the fucking information? Oh, I don't know.
or there's so many that are cash related, like high end cash related, millions of dollars like in the balance,
I went
or as
on
part of a deal, and then someone fucking dies.
I went on YouTube, and there are some like there's some footage that's grainy, like a telephone call shit between Dorothy Kilgallen and someone else, and it's like the allegation that G.H. Walker Bush is was involved, if not the perpetrator.
In what?
That he was involved in the JFK shooting.
Oh,
What am I going to
yeah,
get?
he was there.
What am I
Like,
going to
there's a
get a
photo.
strike for? Kathy B's afraid I'm going to get a YouTube strike.
Kathy, don't worry.
Nudity.
The internet's going to be outraged when they boot your show off the fucking platform.
All of
Internet
my
is gonna rise up.
15 subs. Like
All you got to do is make another account, of course.
I have 175 subs. I think 160 of them are 420 related. Yeah.
420. I'm just waking up myself. I've got the day off because I work the weekend.
I got a week off.
Woo! How'd you pull that off?
I took
Federal vacation.
I took the week off.
Yeah, fucking socialism for you, hardcore capitalism for me. Fucking government.
I know. Socialists suck. Socialism sucks. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, Dave, what? Shouldn't you be at work? Nah, I'm on vacation.
I'm lucky if I get a real day out, like a full day off in a month. Usually, even on my days off, I'm working like 2 hours a day.
Well, typically, if I'm on James's stream or Evan's stream at night, it's like, Dave, why are you here? I called out sick.
Yep. Fucking federal goddamn unions. Goddamn unions are destroying the American worker by promoting indigence.
Trust me, we're not.
I'm kidding, of course. I
United
think
States-
everyone should get like at least a month off a year. At least.
Don't worry.
We should have a system like Germany's, you know?
Yeah. Don't worry about it. I do.
Yeah, you fucker. You bastard.
I get what, 6 weeks? Not including sick time?
Yeah, I wish I got something like that. I get 2 weeks off a year, and usually I just end up cashing those out.
Right. Well, plus, I get 5 weeks of vacation. Now, that's after 15 years of working for the Postal Service. So don't all you guys get excited and try to get a job at the Postal Service. So it's 5 weeks, and then you can bank the holidays as a regular employee and add those. So theoretically, you could get 7 weeks. Theoretically.
Plenty of time to travel to Moscow, eh, Dave?
Back in the USSR.
Plenty of time to pick up your other paycheck.
Don't know how lucky you. Now you're making me sound like fucking Kevin Costner in No Way Out. You son of a bitch.
It looks like. Speaking of that, though,
Wait,
it
hold
looks
on.
like.
Is that damn computer picture? That's all I remember from that stupid movie.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Oh, well, I just ruined it for you. Talk about spoilers.
that was the movie.
That was the movie.
Like there's 2 hours of that. Some kind of fucking some kind of art project.
You could say, yeah. Let's see.
But it looks like Putin is back in the saddle again. Putin is looks like he's won
Well,
the Russian election.
Putin with his damn, shirtless horse riding pics.
People have such a strange view of Putin. Like people and there's a lot of people in the U.S. who have never sat and actually listened to Putin speak. So they have this impression of him that he's this Mussolini type figure, right? Who runs around barking and stuff. He's not like that at all.
He's a stone cold motherfucker.
Yeah, he's just quiet, dude. He's kind of quiet, soft spoken, his voice goes up a little bit once in a while, but
Lauren who? Oh, Steiner? Are you talking about Lauren Steiner? Stable Genius Progressive?
what's all this? Oh, Lauren Southern. I know who Lauren Southern is.
Oh, okay.
She's that blonde conservative chick.
How did you just get kicked off, Kathy B? I didn't do it. Were you sitting with Jill Stein and then Putin again? All right,
it wasn't me, Kathy. I didn't.
It wasn't me either.
What about Lauren Southern? Are you talking about her getting banned from the UK? Stable Genius. In case apparently, since you don't know who she is, Dave.
Yeah, I have no idea who she is.
So Lauren Southern is a conservative commentator. Are you familiar with like Steven Crowder?
Yes.
People like that.
Yeah.
Like she's kind of in that sphere, like Gavin McInnes.
Okay.
Right. Like she's kind of in that sphere. Like super, super beautiful woman. Right. But that's
all you care about.
Super beautiful.
God.
Just got to say it again. But she was banned from the UK.
She's one hot broad.
She's one hot broad, Dave. He's one hot mixer.
God, they were gonna kick me off of this thing.
She was banned from the UK, and you know what? Progressive, I wasn't exactly sure why. For interfering with border crossings. What Stable Genius is saying. But the UK is kind of, man, that's kept becoming more and more of a repressive society. You're seeing them do more shit like this where they're banning people from entering. They're putting citizens up on these, like, basically culture crime type charges. And if you look at London, the thing has there's a camera every 2 fucking feet. Like everything is recorded in London. They're going for total coverage. That's their stated purpose. So they want to be able to cover every square foot of that city in cameras. UK's headed down a fucking fucked up path, man.
Yeah, we're in much better shape.
Yeah, that's we got our own problems. Why am I talking about the fucking UK?
Papua New Guinea. Like, oh my God.
But if we watch the UK and the way that they're developing their national surveillance and intelligence gathering systems, they have different laws about what the government is supposed to reveal to citizens as far as their monitoring activities. So if you watch how UK is developing their surveillance systems, what you notice is after a couple of years, the US tends to follow suit. Like we're following them as far as it's like the UK is some kind of fucking Skinner box and we're using it to test out which are the best surveillance systems that don't disrupt the society to the point where people start freaking out. You know what I'm saying?
Did this happen right after Corbyn?
The monitoring and all that? That's been going on for years.
But did it ramp up after?
No, not really.
Okay.
Like, I mean, it's always been going up simply because they keep doing more and more of it. But is it linked to Jeremy Corbyn? Is what you're implying?
Yes.
I wouldn't.
Well,
say
I'm
so.
not implying. I'm asking.
Not in my opinion. Like, is there something specific though that made you think that?
Yes, progressivism, and there's the charge or the allegation that progressivism kind of leads to more government control. I've heard people saying that. So Jeremy Corbyn is supposedly an extremely progressive leader. And I was just wondering if the direction went that way more so. I know I've been hearing for years that surveillance has been in the UK or predominant in the UK for a while. I was just wondering if
that's
if
a
it
fair
increased.
critique. That's a fair critique of liberalism, okay? And it's a critique of liberalism that people have had for about 200 years, and it's valid. Like, there is a dark side to liberalism and cultural progressivism, and it expresses its way in like these social engineering efforts.
Right. Well, look.
So it's as liberals and as progressives, like, we shouldn't be blind to our own faults.
I just simply asked the question. I'm like, look, I don't know the answer to this, but why is Medicare for all the end all be all for healthcare? And the responses I get are, oh, that's not an answer. My concern is, I understand insurance, I get it, and the companies, but when you get government control over something that we absolutely need, and politicians are owned by healthcare, so how is it different? I'm just asking.
Under this system, I mean, it would play out like you're saying. Like, if our system were to remain like it is now,
Right.
and then we were just suddenly to institute like VA style healthcare for the entire nation,
Right.
like, it could very well be a disaster. Like, it's other parts of the system need to change before we can fix some of these social programs. Like, education is another example.
Education is another thing it's going to take some time. Unfortunately, kids are going to fall through the cracks because it takes a certain amount of time for changes in the educational system to really take effect. So by the time it happens, 4, 5, 6, 7 years pass. You have a kid who was in kindergarten now in the 7th or 8th grade.
We got to start somewhere, Dave.
I know that, but what I'm saying is, you're right, but we have to implement educational reform as soon as humanly possible, because the longer you wait, the worse it's going to get, and the more generations are going to suffer for it, and the workforce is going to suffer for it. Although I don't really think that the people in power really give a shit because of automation coming.
Yeah, there are increasingly two major economies in the U.S. Like, you're part of one or the other. I mean, there's always been multiple economies in the U.S., I guess,
Right.
but it's just becoming more stratified now, and the two major economies have less to do with one another than they used to. They're not as interdependent anymore. Like, the wealthy can afford to abandon huge portions of the population
Right.
because of things like automation. I mean, and that's not the only thing. The communications technologies that we've developed over the past 20 years have had a huge effect on how much you actually need people to accomplish tasks.
Right.
You just don't need them anymore. So,
I mean,
you just need less people to be complicit in order to accomplish your goals.
Steve Grumbine pounds this in, with MMT, and MMT is a theory, but the fact that money is a man-made construct. Money is something that that leaders came up with as an incentive to get people to do shit that, that they needed them to do. So that they just wouldn't be sitting in their huts all day and doing whatever. They would actually be building bridges and stuff and roads. So money is a man-made construct designed to incentivize work. Taxes are designed to incentivize work, which to me doesn't make sense, because the more I work, the more overtime I make, the less money I make because the more taxes are taken out. So that I don't really understand. But my point is, what happens when you don't need the people anymore? What is the purpose of money? Just to separate the upper class from the other classes, I would imagine. That's the only reason.
I mean, right now there are many people in the world who, I mean, money is not what they're after. Like there are organizations and people in the world that they've gone beyond the level of money being anything but a tool.
Right.
Like they don't pursue money anymore. What they pursue are, spheres of influence. They want to expand their spheres of influence. They want to expand like asset ownership, like hard asset ownership.
Well, Stable Genius Progressive keeps on bringing up the point that, Medicare for all is a start. No. The start is to break the connection between companies and politicians. Politicians are supposed to be public servants. They're not supposed to be servants to insurance companies or pharmaceutical companies or telecom companies or oil or coal or gas or whatever companies. They're supposed to be for us, but that's not the way it is. So until that is fixed, I don't know how the healthcare system would work. That has to be fixed first. And every single progressive candidate that I have heard so far there's a couple of things. The free college. All right. Put that off to the side for a minute. $15 minimum wage, which to me isn't enough. To me, you have to at least have a living wage. Because in some places, $15, you can live like a king. In some places, you could barely scrape by. New York City, you can barely scrape by. Good luck. So $15 minimum wage. And the third one is Medicare for all. But how does that work when you have the politicians, if the government is controlling what you can get care for? Yeah, the insurance company are controlling it, the prices anymore, but the politicians are, and they're owned by the insurance companies anyway. So I don't know what the answer is yet.
Well,
my answer is break the chains. I don't know how to do that, though.
I think that, again, a big part of this is media reform. Okay, why do these politicians have to raise...
I will not be a fucking Justice Democrat. Cut that shit out.
It's about joining Wolfpack and donating to TYT and sitting in your chair and just writing checks to fucking Jank. That's what it's all about.
Hold on. Buddy Romer. All right. Sorry.
But media reform. Like, why does it cost so much to run a campaign? Large part, it's because of, they have to pay media. Now, up until everything was transferred over to digital signals, like, the citizens had a much stronger hand in media reform, not only because of the lack of consolidation, but because the FCC owns the airwaves. The airwaves are public property, right?
Right.
So while they were still using the airwaves on a regular basis, like we had a much stronger hand, and we could have done things like, hey, you need to provide X amount of time for these candidates for free. You can't accept all this money
Right.
from political candidates. Like, you can do this, you can't do that. And we could have made it so that someone like a Seaman Hernandez could have stood on the same stage as a Ted Cruz.
I do think
Right?
I do
Like,
think
and we
that,
could have
yeah,
forced the media to do that.
I do think
Now
that
it's a bit harder
every
because
primary candidate should have at least, you want to say 3 debates so you get one, fine. Let's have 3 debates. Okay, let's get one debate. One debate during a primary with everybody there. One debate, at least. Try to get two. Instead of having the incumbents shut these people out completely. Or the
so it's a little bit harder now because of because we don't own the digital signals,
right.
like the same way that we own the airwaves. But we could still force it through. Like, if the media companies weren't so consolidated, we could force it through. Like, so where was I at? Like, you fucking interrupted me, Dave. Where was I going with this? God damn you.
Go Republican, like Sam Roden.
Wolf Pack. That's where I was going with this. But yeah, media consolidation. So we got a couple of things going on here. We've got the price to run a campaign because of the way our media is run. We also have media consolidation, which makes it very hard to force these reforms on them. So we have to go another layer in. And the next layer, before we can get to that, is to apply antitrust laws to these companies and start breaking them up. So we break them up. Then we force like citizen reforms on them to give an equal like platform to candidates. And, you know, so I mean, we're talking about these multi-step processes to even get one fucking thing done. And like you said, what we really want to do here is reform a specific system like education or healthcare. But we got to go through all this other bullshit to do it. That's Gordon, the way our system's set up.
This. Here, Gordon. Here. Reform the system. Oh, you can't see my dollar. Here.
So again, the courts. Like, people have got to start suing these fuckers in courts.
Here you go. Here you go, Gordon.
Ooh, dollar, dollar, holla, holla. Put it in my G-string, Dave.
I don't even want to know where it is. But in terms of, well, they just consolidated all the companies. I mean, like 3 media companies at this point? I don't know.
Big, the 5. There's 5
okay.
ones. Yeah.
So, and the other thing was that you don't have to have local affiliates anymore. And you can start gobbling them up. So,
are you familiar with the history of Clear Channel?
No.
If you're interested in that topic, like, read up on the history of Clear Channel.
Is it KLEAR or?
It's clear as in clear window pane.
Okay. I mean, you know.
So yeah.
I need to interview, you know, Joe Manchin, and I need to interview Elizabeth Warren, and I need to interview friggin' Debbie Wasserman Schlitz, and friggin', you know.
That's your dream interview,
Donna Brazil Wasserman Schlitz.
God damn, Donna's a shark, man.
You think?
Cold, hard salesman. Did you watch that fucking? Did you watch the Tim Black interview with
All I did, I turned, like, after 15 minutes, I turned the volume down, and I just watched the chat. I watched people just their brains implode all over the chat. They're like, what the hell? Don't let her get away with it. Blah, blah. And then, you know, Momo Panamo, or whatever his name is, Momo Panamo, Paneo, Mono,
something like that.
Something like that. Sorry, Momo. He was like, now, He's like booting people left and right. They're like, "Ah." So the problem is that, and actually, funny enough, Julian Assange gave a link to a story where they talk about this. You you need access. You need access to sources to get good stories. How do you get that access? How do you get those sources? By kissing ass and by doing whatever you got to do.
See, I don't see.
And you don't want to ask too hard of a question because you'll never get that person on again, and you're burned through your sources.
See, I don't see.
Do it.
I don't see that interviews like that. Like, I think Tim did an all right job, man. I think that he asked her some tough questions, and he asked them more than once when she would dodge them. But the point is like, you're never going to get an answer out of a person like that. You can ask that person that question 1,000,000 times, and every time that they reply to you, they'll give you a 2-minute sales pitch for their position.
Right.
And they won't answer the question. And you can do that for 8 hours if you want. And they're good enough so that they can just keep fucking rolling. And that's what Donna is. She's super good at it. And she was trying to fucking co-opt Tim. She came onto his show and was like, "Are you ready to hook up with fucking TSC, Tim?" Like, she kept asking him that.
Right.
And he looked kind of scared. He was like, "No, I don't stay in touch." It was hilarious. If you watch it, she fucks up once in a while. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. She makes mistakes.
Get on the bus with Bernie and freaking what's his face.
She just plows right through. She's like a straight line. I'd hate to play poker against Donna Brazil too. Just blank looks at the camera, lies our fucking ass off, and tries to sell you on shit.
The problem with her is that I'd fucking, I call her bluff like every single fucking time. It's just like, I'd have to have way more money than she did, which obviously I don't.
It'd be enraging. Like, you'd sit there and you try to talk to her and she would do that shit to you. Like, eventually, like, my voice might go up a bit. I might yell, and then she would win. Because now I've yelled at her.
God help us. There are people trying to teach each other how to be hackers on my channel. Hold on.
Trying to be hackers, huh?
Oh, God.
Step 1, don't talk about it on a YouTube chat.
How do you hack into the mainframe of blah, blah, blah?
Step 1.
I want to get TYT sources on their computer. You hire Cable McCrory from the show Bull. No, I'm just playing.
TYT's been on another goddamn fundraising spree, I guess.
Did you notice that? How much was it? $6 trillion went missing from the Pentagon, and all of a sudden, everybody at TYT got new cars.
They've got their hand in the black hole, man. They've come out of it. They're a product of that black hole.
Everybody's got their bling on and shit.
Yeah, as far as that goes, I'll just say it again. Like, you know what an investment is? It's a debt. You are $20 million in debt to Jeffrey Katzenberg and Winco or whatever the hell it was, and all those people.
Well, when was that? Which is weird, because the first batch of money that he took was from a conservative, and then he, all of a sudden he's like the fucking Koch brothers. He'll take shit from all sides. But it's like he took it from Buddy Roemer, and then he took it from Katzenberg right before the election. Did he take that like right around the primary, or at the end of the primary?
This is how it went down, man. Okay, like first they went to their audience. This is after their audience built them a studio, like gave them a bunch of money to build them a studio. This was after Buddy Roemer. This is after all that. It was like, what, 2015, 2016. They started raising, they wanted to raise $2 million to hire a team of investigative journalists.
Right, I remember that. Because every 100,000, freaking he'd come on and go, I hired the Mickey Const.
It's like, what the fuck? That's not an investigative journalist, dude. That's a communication. That's a DNC communications liaison that you hired.
Right. But he's like, I hired a fucking, progressive journalist for you.
No, like Michael Tracy, I think, was the only investigative reporter that they hired. I could be wrong about that, but all these other people were writers, commentators, or in Nomiki's case, a straight-up DNC liaison, hired with the viewers' money. So there you go. So after that, like, and almost like within a couple of weeks after that, like there's some indications of this deal going on, and then within a couple of months, $20 million. So you can't tell me that when they were raising that $2 million from their audience, that $20 million deal wasn't already fucking on its way to being rolled out, right? Like, you just don't do a $20 million deal over, oh fuck, 2 days later you got $20 million bucks. That's a multi-month deal. So, like, they defrauded their audience on a couple of fronts, in my opinion. So that's how that went down. Scum, TYT scum. They've ripped off their audience on more than one occasion.
You think? I gave them a fucking $100. I was like, I went on the very first phone call that I had. I think I had like 3 calls to Tim Black. The third one didn't go that well. But the first one was me calling for people to sue TYT because they did that bullshit with the Justice Democrats saying that they were going to get money out of politics, and then you find out that they took money from politicians.
Yeah, well, these huge donors. I mean, Jeffrey Katzenberg, he's not just some rich billionaire or whatever. I mean, well, he has actively been involved in like manipulating the U.S. political landscape for like the better part of 2 decades.
You're talking about the media guy, right? Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Yeah. And there's a few other
the guy who played the postal worker in Cheers. No, I'm just playing.
He doesn't look anything like him. Why do you relate him to?
Because of the name, it's like Ratzenberg.
Oh yeah, John Ratzenberg. Yeah. Yeah, but anyways, and there's a couple of dudes in there that are right along those lines, and I can't remember their names right now, but
scumbag, fuckface, asshole, pisshead, those guys.
Yeah, something like that. So you're $20 million in debt to these people, chump. Like, you're going to find out what that's all about. And it's not fun. Like, you might enjoy spending the money, and it might be great, like, in some ways. But I'll tell you what, you don't want to be $20 million in debt to those people if you have any sort, a sense of pride, at least. Well, if you don't have any pride, then you're probably cool with it.
I'd like for Bullshit Man or somebody like that to do kind of a montage of Jenk's face over the years, where he's like, and then he just becomes more and more despondent as the fucking years go. Like, and he just has his head in his hands at the end, like, of course.
That is true. Like, it's not like I watch it on a regular basis, but I'll tune it in once every couple of weeks. And as time goes on, like, Anna becomes like more like withdrawn.
Jank, yeah, exactly.
And Jank becomes like more like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like the kid who gets picked on too much or something, and he ends up shooting his mouth off too
Well,
much.
you know, when
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, when he got busted, whatever, for those comments he said about Miami, and I was like, you know, it's boorish, but I'm like, all right, you know, we demand he leaves Justice Democrats. Whatever, you know.
They shot themselves in the face for that. They fired their media and fundraising wing all in one.
Yeah.
And like their treasurer, like was Dave Kohler.
Right.
So he was gone. And who knows what kind of relationship they had, like as far as the money that flowed between TYT and Justice Democrats. Because guess what? I'm not buying that there was no flow. Like, which is the line that Jank sells. Oh, they're two separate things. Bull fucking shit. Like, there's some amount of money going back and forth there.
Oh, there has to be. There has to be. I can't, you know, I can't. I don't know. I can't see it. And I know at one point, Jank was doing like guest spot appearances in movies. He was friggin' doing Bose stereo commercials. He's doing all sorts of shit. So I don't know if that was to like get money or if that's because he was becoming more popular. I don't know yet. But I don't know. Are you like projecting mafia types are gonna like come to the set and it's just all of a sudden in the middle of one of their live shows? Just
like as far as being in debt to these people? No, man, like it's not going to go down like that. You don't need mafia types. You just like use like your billions to sue someone into submission.
Right.
And that's what you do. You dig up dirt on them. All of a sudden, all kinds of dirt comes out on Jank.
But
like, I wonder, like, what that's all about.
The most bizarre, and I know you said, I think you weren't that tough on this interview either, but the most bizarre interview, and I think that he got some money out of this. It's like, why the hell would you do this? Is when he was with the Justice Democrats. Cenk Uygur was with the Justice Democrats. He did not personally interview Paula Jean Swearengin, but he personally interviewed her opponent. He is part of the Justice Democrats, and he's sponsoring Paula Jean, but he is interviewing Joe Manchin directly, yet I believe it was Jordan Sheridan that interviewed, that interviewed Paula Jean. It's just bizarre. It's like...
Makes sense to me, man. He was told to put him on.
But you know what I'm saying. But you know what I'm saying. You're kind of torpedoing your own candidate by making it look like, you know, the intern is interviewing your own candidate, but the big guy is interviewing her opponent because her opponent is more qualified. That's
another thing we have to remember about TYT is that they're bumblers and they make a lot of dumb mistakes.
Yeah,
and that's one of them. Like the optics on that are horrible.
You know, orgies on the TYT credit card. You know.
They don't know where their money's going. Like people are spending money, they like don't find out about it. People are getting fired left and right. Like, you know, it's a mess over there. They've gotten way too big. Like,
okay,
they have way too much money. They can't handle it.
So I'm about to go in a minute, but I want to ask about this because I just started watching. So, who is it? Kathy mentioned Al Jazeera. I just saw a bit on Al Jazeera about like the number of journalists that die every year. How non-credible is Al Jazeera?
How not? That's proving a negative. Like, how credible is Al Jazeera?
How credible is Al Jazeera?
Like, how much credibility do I give them? I would say that Al Jazeera has done a lot of good reporting over the years.
Okay.
And again, what we're really talking about here is the failure of U.S. media. Okay, all media and all consolidated interests are going to have a certain kind of bias, and it's up to us to recognize that.
Right.
Nonetheless, the reason why Al Jazeera, quote, provides good reporting and what have you is because they're filling in the gaps that U.S. media has failed to fill.
Well,
U.S.
Jesus
media
Christ.
should be reporting on these things, and they're not. And
Yeah.
it's not like Al Jazeera has to, or RT, or any of these others have to do a whole lot of stretching, if any stretching at all,
Right.
in order to, demonstrate that something's fucked up. They don't have to lie.
Not for nothing. An asteroid could fill the fucking gaps that the U.S. media, leaves. I mean, it's the lack of quality in United States news reporting is insane. Part of it is the fact that it's 24 hours a day. That's part of it. I heard on the street that someone might have gone to the bathroom in the same place as Donna Brazil. Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, and it's excuse me, as far as Al Jazeera itself, they produce a lot of good content. Like, they are, like, Al Jazeera's reporting exceeds that of CNN by, I don't know, orders of magnitude.
So Audrey is correcting me. I was actually talking about last year, but they're saying that Cenk has interviewed Paula Jane 3 times in the past couple of months, which, in all honesty, makes perfect sense. Because the primary is coming up. And also, I tried to even do like a phone interview or something, and I was a nobody, and I think Red spoke to her, and she was going to do an interview with her, and I think that most of the time, the Justice Democrat candidates are not that accessible to non-TYT reporters. They're just not. They mostly get interviewed by Jimmy Dore and on all those guys. Now, there's that guy from Texas that Taylor was able to, Derek somebody. I can't remember. My apologies. But Taylor interviewed him, and he had contacted me and said, Dave, there's an opportunity to interview this guy. I'm like, well, give me like a day or two, and I'd like to just do a little bit of research on him so that I could give him an informed interview. He's like, no, it has to be tonight. I'm like, okay, well, I can't do it. So I lost my chance with a TYT candidate.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
destroyed.
Justice Democrats shot themselves in the fucking face by doing that.
But
and again, it's an example of mismanagement. Like, if Cenk and or Kyle would have had proper managerial oversight of that organization, it wouldn't gotten to the point where you had employees revolting on you like that, to the point where it destroyed the relationship.
So let's see. Jamarl is crazier than us. He just started a video. Ow. He just started a live stream. Watch live now. Jamarl Thomas. ISIS used chemical weapons 52 times in Syria and Iraq. Government lies to create protect. All right, hold on. Let's see.
As far as I noticed, people mentioned that Cenk interviewed Paula a few times, etc. in the chat.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless, it's still the optic. Like, why was Joe Manchin on there to begin with?
Right. That's
Like,
my question.
and my theory is that he was told to put him on because DNC expects that that will be the candidate that they run. They expected it from early on. And because of the system that we have, that will be the candidate that they run.
And because you placed yourself in the situation in which you are a news organization that is running political candidates, you put yourself in a situation where you are not completely unbiased because you're running a candidate against someone that you are actually interviewing. And you put yourself in an impossible situation because if you ask really hardball questions, well, you're just asking him hardball questions because he's running against your candidate. If you go a little soft on him, why is he going soft on Joe Manchin when he's running somebody against him? Maybe he doesn't think that Paula Jean is that strong of a candidate. You can't win. So
exactly, dude. Like, that was soft. That's how I would describe that interview. Very soft. I mean, Manchin openly trolled him in that interview. It was hilarious.
I know.
And, like, Cenk just kind of sat there and took it. Like, didn't bother to correct him once. Jinx. That's where that whole shit comes from, is from that Joe Manchin interview. So anyways, dude, I better start my day. It's about 7 a.m. where I'm at.
Oh, you gotta, no. I just told you Jamarl's on. You're going to go right on Jamarl and start trolling him.
Well, I'll probably tune in, but I'll probably be getting up and doing stuff while
I'll probably be falling down and not doing things.
Falling down? Wasn't that a film?
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah. They actually did some kind of thing on it recently. Michael Douglas, the burger looks worse than it did in the advertisement. I'm going to shoot you in the head. Okay.
You and me, we the same. You and me, we the same. That fucking Nazi. That freak. We're not the same.
Oh, God.
That was a great film.
I liked Al Jazeera because they reported on news I hadn't heard of.
All right, dude. Have a good morning.
All right, I'm gonna go to you guys. Thanks, Gordon. Peace.
See you, chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Well, that's my thing. It makes perfect sense that they are the only ones that are interviewing the Justice Democrat candidates because they built the media around them, so it makes sense. But anyway, I'm gonna go. You guys take it easy. Independent outsider out.